Hey everybody, in this video, I want to talk about client tasking. Now, if you've been to like a traditional modern day hypnosis, maybe like a script-based hypnosis training, they'll often talk about tasking. In this video, I'll talk more about the ACH side of tasking, what we recommend our students do, and what I did for my clients as well. And it works really, really well. And it's really, really simple as well. And it enhances the processing that occurs after the session as well. So let's look at client tasking. To make sure we're on the same page, let me just introduce you to this. So traditionally, which is what I mentioned before, you may have had your client, for example, pick up cigarette butts or write in a thoughts journal for 2 weeks before the session. So this is commonly taught, and I think this is more around motivation. Like if I've got a client coming in for stop smoking, I'm going to have them pick up cigarette butts, which is a common thing to tell your clients with that more traditional way, to see if they're motivated, see if they're ready to quit. I find it absolutely disgusting. So maybe that would help motivate me to quit smoking. I don't know, but that's traditionally what's taught. I know anxiety has some sort of tasking that you can do at the start, but again, the idea is to do tasking at the start. The only problem with this is pointless as smoking is a symptom. Anxiety is a symptom. Weight loss is a symptom. Negative thoughts are a symptom. So there's no point doing tasking at the start if it's a symptom. I would never have a client pick up cigarette butts. Not only is it absolutely revolting, but there could be issues with diseases and germs and stuff that if you tell them to do that, and they do get something from picking up those butts, you could be liable for that. Okay, but at the end of the day, regardless of that, it's all a symptom, so there's no point. Okay, so if you're doing tasking at the start, stop it. Waste of time, doesn't need to be done. So what we do instead is what I call end tasking. And there's two things you can have your clients do very quickly, and it enhances the processing. As I mentioned before, we know processing happens at the end of the session. That's when the client's mind starts to reform and rejig everything to make sure they get the goals thereafter and to achieve the new thoughts, the new feelings, the end result they came in for. Okay, that's what processing does. That's what good therapy should enhance. So the end tasking, the first thing we have our clients do is what's called sleep tasking. So right at the end, you've done your processing chat, and you might say to a client, you may have picked up on this before or talked about this before on the strategy call, even at the start of the session. But at the end of the session, you should be instructing your client to go to bed and have a sleep. This allows 100% processing without conscious interference. The last thing we want our client to go through is to be driving home from the hypnosis session and having the conscious mind interfering, saying, well, I wonder if this worked. I don't think it did. I remember he said this, this, and this. Conscious interfering. Now, that's at the hypnosis level. If you're doing really deep therapy, the conscious mind can interfere all at once and it won't make any difference. But all in all, what I like to tell my clients, because I've seen my clients over Skype at the time, is say, at the end of the session, my clients are just absolutely exhausted. Okay, their brain is just absolutely fried. There's a purpose to that with ACH. I won't get into that now, but there's a purpose to mentally exhaust your clients. All my clients wanted to do was just be left alone, basically. So I would say, go have a sleep. Even if it's just for half an hour or an hour, that half an hour or hour nap is 100% processing. And you'll find that the results your clients want come so much quicker if they can get sleep tasking done. So just simply ask them, hey, what are you going to do for the rest of the day? Say, well, really nothing. I've got the whole day off. Great. What I want you to do is go to bed, have a sleep, and let me know if you need anything after that. That's it. That's how I sleep task. If they can't do it, not a big deal. If my client says, well, I can't have a sleep, I was going to go to the movies and watch a movie, I want to tell them to go do that. That's fine as well. Okay. Anything just to get their mind off what's happened, but sleep is always the best for enhancing those goals, but also speeding up the result. The last thing is once I've done the sleep tasking little chat, I'll say, hey, John, just before you go, I want to ask my client, what is the smallest thing they can do to get the most out of the result they want? So it sounds like this. So, hey, John, congratulations on today. Just one last question. What's the smallest thing you could do to make sure quitting smoking is easy for you? Yes, it's the symptom. I understand that. We don't have to talk about the payoff at that point, but I need him just to think of a small goal consciously. That's the reason we use the word smallest. If I say, what's everything you can do to make sure you never smoke again? That's too much information. What will happen is we'll go from conscious, because we'll get overwhelmed, it become unconscious, which I don't want. I don't want it to interfere. The unconscious mind is busy. Leave it alone. By giving them a conscious small task, it keeps those minds separated. So the unconscious mind can do what it's going to do, just like sleeping, and the conscious mind can go do something small. So I might say, hey, John, what's the smallest thing you can do? And he says, well, smallest thing I can do is I was actually going to join the gym on the way home. I go, great, go do that. Great for your health, great for everything else. Fantastic, well done. If he says, well, I was going to take my dog for a walk, or I was going to open another upper bank account and put the extra money I'll be saving on smoking into that account, fine. I was going to go watch a movie, fine, go do that. Just something small. Okay. I don't want my client to say, well, in order to change my entire life, you have to back up and say, no, 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 what's the smallest thing? You just need something small. It can be as small as I'm going to go eat a chocolate bar. I don't care what it is. It's just giving them a conscious task mentally to achieve. Now, this was very popular with Erickson. Erickson used to do the smallest thing tasking. And his clients would say, well, I'm a gardener. I want to go garden. I want to go plant some trees. And he'd often say, well, I want you to go plant 5 trees for me. I want you to go use the proper soil. I want you to dig out the weeds. And sure, he'd give more tasking than I'm comfortable with. I don't agree with telling clients what to do and telling them how many they should plant, as an example. But I will tell them if that's what you want to do, go do that. I'd love to see the results. Show me what your garden looks like in a month from now, whatever it is. Okay. Something small. All right. So let's just recap quickly. You do not need to do tasking at the start. It is pointless. It's a symptom. It achieves nothing. You do want to end the session with always sleep tasking and what's the smallest thing. We call that like a coaching question, just to separate the conscious mind to the unconscious mind so it doesn't interfere. All right, guys, hopefully that was informative. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.